One minute everything was fine. The next, the California coast was peeling apart like wet cake. Highway 1, gone in chunks. Cliffside homes, teetering like they're auditioning for a disaster movie. And the waves massive, relentless, carving through the coastline like it owed them money. This isn't just another weather update or a freak landslide moment. What's happening on the California coast right now is a full-blown geological drama, years in the making, and it's only accelerating. Let's be clear, this isn't normal erosion. This is a system-wide failure of the coast's ability to hold itself together. Extreme atmospheric rivers are slamming into the shoreline.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Wave after wave. Think of them as high-intensity storm trains, soaking everything in sight while the ocean pummels the base of the cliffs. It's a brutal one to punch. Water from above saturates the cliffs, water from below erodes the foundation. Result: the cliffs literally give out. This isn't just weather gone wild, it's climate stacking the deck. Higher tides, rising sea levels, longer storm seasons. The ocean isn't where it used to be. The tides are higher, more frequent, and more aggressive, and they're reaching parts of the coast that historically didn't even see splash. Wave run-up events are breaking past historical norms, and that means every incoming swell is more dangerous than the last. The cliffs, once stable, are now ticking time bombs. Soils saturated to the point where they can't hold together. Roads cracking, fences bulging, doors jamming. These aren't small warning signs, they're red sirens for slope failure. That house with the beautiful ocean view, it might not even be there next week. And then came the quake. The 2026 earthquake hit fast, less than a minute long, but its aftermath is still unfolding. Seismologists realized quickly that the quake didn't actually relieve pressure. It just moved it around. Like stress playing hopscotch across a network of secondary faults. These weren't random aftershocks, either. They followed eerie, branching patterns fractal-like, spreading into unmapped depths of the crust. Deep below the surface, more than 25 kilometers down, new fault routes were exposed. California's hidden skeleton lit up on seismic monitors like never before. And while the headlines moved on, the Earth didn't. That quake kicked off a seismic cascade, a redistribution of tectonic energy that's still playing out beneath our feet. It's not over. It's barely begun. But it's not just cracks and shakes. The quake triggered wild shifts in groundwater systems. Some wells surged. Others went bone dry. Not because of surface issues, but because the quake permanently reconfigured how water moves underground. That's massive. It changes how aquifers work, how water is stored and transported, and how cities plan for drought and supply. Even more unsettling, subsurface pressure waves rippled through aquifers like shockwaves, but in water. That means this quake didn't just shake buildings, it shook water systems. It bent them, and they're still flexing. And here's the kicker, this chaos was captured, not by accident, but by design. A multi-tiered monitoring system is now tracking every millimeter of movement on the cliffs, from drone-based LiDAR sweeps to satellite interferometry to ground GPS arrays. Scientists are watching the cliffs breathe, rise, fall, shift before they break. Some of these sensors can detect slope changes days or even weeks ahead of visible collapse. The data isn't just for show. It feeds into predictive models, algorithms that blend wave height, storm surge, soil saturation, and geology to map out failure zones in real time. These models are changing the game. They're telling emergency managers where and when to act, giving cities precious time to shut down roads, evacuate homes, and make difficult calls about what to save and what to let go. And those calls are getting harder. Critical infrastructure is now sitting in active hazard zones. That includes roads, rail lines, power lines, and entire neighborhoods. The options: armor the coast with expensive reinforcements, patch things up temporarily, or walk away entirely. In many cases, managed retreat, the formal term for cut your losses and relocate, is the only economically rational choice left. When the cost of endless repairs outpaces the value of the land, moving becomes not just strategic, but inevitable. And if you're thinking, this sounds like a local problem, think again. The entire state's risk map is changing. Aftershock patterns are showing that stress is traveling far beyond the known fault lines. Elastic energy is transferring across huge volumes of rock, meaning seismic hazard isn't limited to where the lines are drawn on a map. The next major rupture, it might not come from where anyone's looking. Let's go back to that cliff collapse for a second. You'd think that when a chunk of coastline falls, the damage is over. But no, that collapse shifts sediment patterns in the ocean. Debris alters wave behavior, which erodes the adjacent cliffs even faster. Inland, the sudden rush of mud and rock can block drainage routes, creating secondary debris flows that take out roads and cut off communities.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
It's a chain reaction, a tightly woven web of co-failures. Coastal systems, water systems, transportation all going down together. It's not just nature versus concrete anymore. It's nature versus systems, and the systems are losing. But there's a tiny shred of hope buried in the chaos. Earthquake early warning systems, those few seconds of notice before shaking begins, proved to be life-saving. Surgeons paused scalpels. Elevators stopped mid-floor. Trains slowed just in time. Fire station doors opened automatically. The alerts were short, but they mattered. They proved that sometimes, the most important resilience comes not from massive interventions but from precise, well-timed action. Still, for every sensor and forecast model, there's a harsh reality behind it. Science can tell us what's coming, but it can't stop it. The choices now are social, political, and economic. Do we invest in armoring a doomed coastline? Do we restore natural barriers like wetlands and dunes? Or do we step back entirely and accept that some places were never meant to be permanent? The old idea of California's coast as a postcard perfect, unchanging paradise. It's over. The cliffs are alive now. Moving, responding, cracking, failing. They're not fixed boundaries, they're volatile thresholds. And they're shifting faster than most systems can adapt. The big takeaway. This isn't a story about isolated collapses or unlucky landslides. It's about a coastal system under full spectrum assault, pushed by climate, shaken by quakes, and exposed by the very sensors meant to protect it. It's a slow-motion disaster with moments of instant collapse, and it's not going away. If you've watched this far, you probably have something to say. Drop your thoughts in the comments, whether you've lived through it, studied it, or are just stunned by the scale of it all. Hit like if you learned something new, share if someone else needs to hear this, and subscribe if you want more breakdowns of the world's unfolding disasters. California's cliffs aren't the only ones cracking under pressure. Let's not sugarcoat it, the California coast is unraveling. We're not talking about erosion in the poetic, waves gently lapping away kind of way. No, this is structural collapse in real time. Highways dropping into the sea. Entire stretches of land slipping off like dead skin. What used to take decades is now happening in weeks. And it's not just one bad season, it's a new baseline. Atmospheric rivers are flooding in like they've got a vendetta. These aren't your average rainy days, these are torrential, moisture-packed systems that drench the coastline with relentless rain. And while they're dumping inches from the sky, the ocean is clawing at the cliffs from below. The result? Total saturation. The cliffs are soaking wet, and once that happens, their strength just vanishes. What used to be firm land is now a slushy mess of compromised earth. Think of it like an oversaturated sponge hanging over a cliff. It can't hold its shape, it can't hold its weight, and eventually, gravity wins. That's the exact dynamic playing out along miles of California's iconic shoreline. Now layer in the rising sea levels. This isn't something happening in the future, it's already here. The tides are higher, the storms more violent, and the energy in each wave is stronger than it used to be. Higher baseline tides mean that even without a storm, water is reaching higher than ever before. Add a swell or a king tide on top of that. You've got surf slamming directly into the base of the cliffs, day after day, until something gives, and things are giving out all over. Clifftop roads are buckling. Entire chunks of the highway are shearing away, sometimes while people are still driving on them. Homes are being red-tagged, fenced off, and abandoned, not because of something that might happen, but because of cracks already opening up in the ground beneath them. There's a reason this feels different now. We've crossed a threshold, and that threshold was punctuated by the 2026 earthquake. It was short, less than a minute, but it left a geological mess that's still being sorted. The quake didn't relieve pressure, it just moved it around, like a game of tectonic hot potato. And the result? A complex pattern of aftershocks, not just along the main fault, but spread out in chaotic, branching clusters. These aftershocks didn't follow the usual rules. They revealed something deeper. Seismologists found activity below 25 kilometers, way deeper than the known fault zones. These weren't aftershocks as we've known them. They were signs of new, previously unmapped structures, fault routes, stretching down into the crust. California's seismic blueprint just got a whole lot more complicated. That quake also scrambled the state's water systems. Some wells spiked, others collapsed. The cause wasn't mechanical, it was hydrogeological. The quake reshaped the underground plumbing. Pore spaces shifted, pathways changed, subsurface pressure waves rippled through aquifers like seismic tsunamis. This is new territory for geologists and hydrologists alike. The idea that a quake could permanently change where groundwater goes. That's huge. It has consequences for water supply, for agriculture, for cities. And it makes it clear that seismic events don't just shake the surface, they rewrite the rules beneath it. And while all that is happening under our feet, the cliffs are still collapsing, still shifting, still cracking. Thankfully, we're not flying blind. Technology has stepped in big time. There's now a multi-layered, hyper-precise monitoring system tracking every move the coastline makes. Drones scan the cliffs with LiDAR, creating high-resolution 3D maps down to the centimeter. Satellites feed inside data interferometric synthetic aperture radar that shows tiny changes in elevation over time. Ground-based GPS arrays are tracking slope movements down to the millimeter. These aren't just academic tools, they're life-saving ones. The data goes into advanced models that predict failure risk in real time. They combine everything: rainfall, wave height, tide levels, ground movement, soil saturation, and spit out probability maps. Where is likely to collapse next? When? Under what conditions? This kind of forecasting used to be wishful thinking. Now, it's actionable intel. Agencies are using this data to make real-world decisions. Which roads to close, which neighborhoods to evacuate, where to reinforce, and where to just back off entirely. And yes, backing off is now on the table. Because sometimes, the smart move is to let go, manage retreat. It sounds calm, strategic, boring even, but in practice, it's brutal. It means telling homeowners that their dream house can't be saved. It means giving up on stretches of road that have been rebuilt 5 times in a decade. It means acknowledging that the ocean is winning. But here's the twist: it's also the most economically sane option in many places. The cost of constantly armoring the coast, rebuilding washed-out roads, restoring broken utilities, it adds up fast. And when the value of what you're defending can't justify that cost, the math starts making decisions for you. Insurance companies see it, governments see it, and increasingly, communities see it. It's not about giving up, it's about adapting to a coast that's no longer static. These cliffs are living systems now. They're in motion, and they'll keep moving whether we're ready or not. The real danger isn't just the collapses themselves, it's the domino effect. When one cliff fails, the debris doesn't just sit there. It shifts sediment patterns in the ocean, changing how waves behave. That can increase erosion on nearby cliffs, triggering more failures. Inland, the debris can clog up drainage systems, sending mudslides into places that weren't even on the risk map. Roads can be buried, power lines snapped, communities cut off. It's a hazard web. Every thread is connected: coastline, groundwater, infrastructure, weather. You can't fix one without affecting the others. That means the response can't be siloed. Emergency services, infrastructure planners, scientists, and residents, they all have to work in sync. Because if they don't, the system fails together. One bright spot in all of this: early warning systems. Seconds matter. When the earthquake hit, those seconds of advance notice made all the difference. Doctors paused surgeries. Elevators froze mid-floor. Fire stations flung open their doors before the shaking could jam them shut. Trains slowed down in time to avoid derailing. It wasn't dramatic. It was precise. That's what resilience looks like in the real world: not huge interventions, but small, well-timed actions that save lives. But even that only goes so far. The hard truth is, no amount of tech can stop the cliffs from failing. What it can do is help us see it coming, prepare for it, and minimize the fallout. But the coastline as we knew it, it's gone. We're not in a period of erosion, we're in a period of collapse. This is no longer a natural problem with a technical solution. It's a social and political one. It's about where we choose to live, how we value land, and whether we're willing to let go of places we once thought were permanent. California's coast has always been dramatic, but now it's dangerous in a way we can't ignore. The cliffs aren't waiting, the waves aren't slowing down, and the fault lines below us are still shifting. And now that we're listening, the message is impossible to unhear. The ground is shifting, the coast is crumbling, and the timeline for someday disasters just got moved up to right now. There's this illusion that nature gives us warnings in big, cinematic ways: booming thunder, sudden tremors, roaring waves. But California's coastline, it's been whispering for years. Tiny fractures, subtle shifts, a fence leaning a few degrees off, a road with a new hairline crack, a retaining wall that suddenly looks not quite right. Individually, those things feel like maintenance issues. Together, they're the story of a coastline trying to hold itself together and failing. It's not just infrastructure that's in danger. It's the entire idea of stability. Think about the towns built into the cliffs, the generations of families with oceanfront views, the dream of the California lifestyle, all of that rests on Earth that is no longer reliable. And the myth that we can engineer our way out of every crisis. It's taking hits, fast. Concrete seawalls, sandbags, rebar supports, they buy time, but they don't stop the ocean. They don't stop gravity. And they definitely don't stop the combined forces of stormwater, seismic aftershocks, and creeping sea levels. You can see it in the policy debates too. Cities are arguing over which roads to save. Insurance companies are walking away from entire zip codes. Developers are still developing, but the ground beneath their optimism is getting shakier by the day. There's a growing tension between denial and adaptation, between those trying to preserve the past and those preparing for a very different future. There's something uniquely cruel about the way this all plays out, because the cliff doesn't just fall one day. It leans, it bulges, it sends signals, and by the time it drops, it's already been failing for a while. Just like the systems built to protect it. What we're watching unfold is what scientists call nonlinear change. That means things don't degrade at a steady pace. They hold, and then snap. Thresholds get crossed. Feedback loops kick in. And once that cascade begins, it feeds on itself. The more that collapses, the more gets exposed. The more erosion, the more vulnerable the next section becomes. It's a runaway process, and it's happening right now. And here's what really drives it home: these aren't freak accidents anymore. They're not random. They're symptoms of a larger, interconnected breakdown where weather, geology, infrastructure, and human decision-making collide in ways we're just beginning to map. So where does that leave us? With difficult, overdue decisions about where to invest, about what to protect, about what to let go, and about how to tell the truth about risk, because business as usual is gone. The coast won't be saved by pretending it's still 1990. It will be reshaped, one way or another, by us or by nature. And the sooner we engage with that reality, the more chance we have to do it on our terms. Thanks for sticking through this breakdown. If you're feeling the weight of this one, you're not alone. Share this with someone who needs to understand what's happening beneath the surface, literally. Like the video if this opened your eyes, subscribe for more raw, unfiltered coverage of unfolding disasters, and let us know in the comments, do you think we're doing enough? Or are we still in denial, waiting for the next cliff to fall? Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially part of the small percentage of people who don't just click away, and that means a lot. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts, your ideas, or even what you'd like to see next. I read every single one of them, and your feedback genuinely shapes the direction of this channel. If you enjoyed the video, tap that like button. It tells YouTube this content is worth sharing. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. We've got more exciting videos coming, and trust me, you'll want to be here for them. This channel is just getting started, and your support helps it grow faster than you realize. Thank you again for spending a part of your day here with me. Stay curious, stay motivated, and as always, take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.